Mr. Phillip and her mother during Labor Day celebrations has escalated into a major dispute between the trade union movement and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. At a news conference yesterday, National Trade Union Centre General Secretary Michael Anisette said unions are seeking legal advice, claiming the incident raises constitutional concerns.
The first point we have to pay attention to: was the young lady allowed to make a statement before the march start, as other trade unionists was allowed to do? Yes, she was allowed. Was the commissioner of police present when she was making the statement, another police officer? Yes. The fact that she was allowed to make a statement before the march start, where other labor leaders was allowed to make their statements, tells you something. So it is a contradiction.
Phillip was hospitalized after her arrest but was later discharged. Former Public Utilities Minister Robert LaHunt is dismissing concerns over TNTEC's so-called protected list, saying it has existed for decades and was never meant to exempt anyone from paying electricity bills. His comments come after Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar recently revealed in Parliament that TNTEC maintained a list of individuals whose electricity service could not be disconnected. The Prime Minister alleged that the list included former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, Opposition Leader Penelope Beckles, and several current and former PNM parliamentarians. But LaHunt says the list was not solely created to benefit politicians. He told CNC3 News the purpose is to ensure certain accounts received additional review or a courtesy reminder before electricity service was disconnected. He says there's a strong possibility the Prime Minister herself could currently be on such a list.
As a courtesy, this list over the years has been people from government officials, senior public servants, ambassadors, judges, people who, as the corporation saw fit or in their mind, would have said, well, if, for example, these people, anything happened to their electricity, so it would not be good to have them out of electricity for a period of time.
That was a look at your headlines. Stay tuned for another update at the top of the hour.
All right, so my producer's making way to studio. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Wave, Nakisha, wave, wave. Yes, space. That's how we do it. Early morning style, Monday, the 22nd of June. We say welcome one and all. It's your morning brew. Let's get the ball rolling immediately. See you soon. That's right. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, lots of moving parts. As much as I'm the one you see on screen, so many of my colleagues, they get so much done behind the scenes to ensure that what we present on air is accurate. It's in keeping with, of course, the trends and what's happening. We try to vet the stories and bring it to you, and then I give my own assessment, and then we bring our callers in to give their particular layer to all the developments. And let me tell you, it's been quite a weekend. We had the Labor Day holiday on Friday. We had a weekend to get through, and we are here to unpack it all. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Jason Williams, JW, signing on for your latest installment of the Morning Brew for today, Monday, the 22nd of June, 2026. Let me extend a sincere happy birthday to my darling mom, Mommy June. Today's her birthday, of course, hence the name June. She's born in the month of June, and we're going to have ourselves a beautiful day. I have a beautiful day planned, and we're going to have a time as per usual. I celebrate my mom all the time, and just want to thank her for all her love and support and continued prayers and just that layer of goodness. Yes, looking after her boy. All right, so let's get the ball rolling. And of course, it's on behalf of not only me, Mommy June, on behalf of my sister, your darling daughter, Giselle also. So can't forget my lovely sister in the mix, who also wants to extend the very best to Mommy June. Let's move now and get into front page action. And I'm looking at what's happening here. Well, before we get to the union story, let me touch on the feel good. Well, when you see costumes on the front page, you know it's Carnival season, the launch of the band launch, and paparazzi out the gates very early. Paparazzi would have presented their 2027 Carnival presentation. It's a private viewing that took place on Saturday at a home, someone's home there in Federation Park. So, all smiles with the models on the front page, Janelle Promau and Jada Ross portraying their sections. So, well done. Beautiful picture. That's one there for Janelle and Jada to get the front page and add to their, I could well imagine, extensive collection of newspaper clips and you know, their portfolio. So well done. I think Yuma is around the corner. So good morning to all the humans. Tribe, I know they're putting their wheels in motion for 2027. Showtime, Ronnie and Caro, all the major bands prepping already. Once you see June, July, especially August hits, it's band launch season. Already the mood is for Carnival 2027, and next year is going to be a short season, so some of the plans must be in place even earlier for 2027. Let's move to the big story. The unions up in arms. More so, Michael Anisette, he was actually in the program with me last week, if you recall, and we had him featured again on Friday for Labor Day. He's there, fist in the air, very perturbed as to what transpired. He said that he was right there on the scene. He was able to bear witness to everything. As a matter of fact, it was upon his invitation that activist Alicia Phillip and the mom went down. And I mean, you know, you're watching this footage here and you don't even have to ask yourself, this is an overreach. You know, I try to figure out what's going on with our colleagues at who at least custody officers. It must be the top brass. I mean, where's the discretion? Yes, we understand there is the letter of the law, but what about the spirit of the law? What about the spirit of Labor Day? And what 1937 and Uriah Buzz Butler and all the labor icons over the years would have fought for? Wasn't it the right for us to just lift our voice and to let our concerns be heard by the powers that be? What's the spirit of Labor Day? What's the spirit of the labor movement? What's the spirit of activism? So we have no voice then. We can't talk. I don't know, probably have to watch what I say. That's where we reach? No, don't do me that. There is one thing I know, and I have witnessed for myself, and it happens, strangely enough, what I'm about to say, I want you to just stay with me for a moment. It happens all the time, but obviously it's never televised, it's never highlighted. There are many officers who offer, as we say in local terms, that bligh, who lean towards discretion. It happens all the time. I've seen many officers just give somebody a stern warning and let them go, and that's been my experience sometimes. More than less, you know what? You know, I humble myself. Police stop, whatever. If there's a particular issue, the light or something, you know, they tell you sort it out. You say thank you, officer, and you're kind of on your way. I'm trying to figure out, like, where's the discretion in that scenario? Because I know, you see, that's why it's so shocking to me. I know that there is a level of major discretion when it comes to the TTPS, especially with the public. Let's be real. It's only really when you hype up yourself and you challenge them, they go the full letter, you know. But once you stay humble, at least this has been my observation. Huh? I could be wrong. Your reality could be different to my reality. I could only speak from the standpoint of what I would have seen in my lived reality. And I think when it comes down to that power dynamic, that particular moment, most times I'm saying here, at least for me, I've seen where discretion would have been the first option. But in this scenario, I mean, obviously they would have been arrested in Port of Spain. They were invited to go down to the Southland to be part of a march, Labor Day march. Again, that whole spirit of lifting your voice, of asking for better, not only as it pertains to workers and wages, but just labor. You know, it's a kind of movement, it's a spirit. I'm trying to figure out what disruption, what was going on that really caused whoever the senior was on the day to say, you know what, let's arrest these people. So again, it continues to be one of those circular arguments. And I guess during the course of the week, hopefully we might get some answers to the many questions. But I can tell you, as it relates to Michael Anisette. Michael Anisette and his team did a big press conference yesterday, and they're going actually, they're going to take legal action apparently, as it says here, union fury over arrest and the detention of activist Alicia Phillip. You let me know when we open up the lines later what's your particular take on this most recent development. Also, Woodland residents fear return of flooding as rainy season begins. You know, Woodland, they've been plagued with floods for years. But then again, too, the area itself is prone to flooding. It's wetlands, and it's all part of a bigger discussion as to how does one treat with, again, an area that has now become a community. People living there, it have schools there, it have bar, it have pub. That's what that people home. But the reality is when there's serious rain, we know what takes place down in Woodland, and it's an area I normally pass through, heading to Erin. If I'm making that kind of back drive to get to Zaparia, all those who know the drive, they know the drive. Through the M2 road, you pass through Woodland, boom, 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 and you. But it's a scene. It's a real scene sometimes to see what's happening down there. But keep us in the loop, and we will stay on top of all developments. You know, while the FIFA World Cup is going on, and we're having a time with the football, you know, the Women's World Cup happening too. Let's head to the back page, and we're not looking bad at all. We're winning games, and we're beating people. That's right, Matthews guides West Indies to win number 3. And we are having a time in this T20 Women's World Cup. We were able to get past Sri Lanka. Apparently the women are in stellar form. And if we continue with this momentum, hey, let's go ahead and take it. Let's go all the way, Matthews and the girls. So well done. Just had to give a little mention to the women because I know lots of focus is on the FIFA World Cup. And as we mentioned FIFA World Cup, what about this Cape Verde team from the west coast of Africa? My goodness, they are right now everybody's sweetheart, everybody's team. They are playing with fight, spirit. I've not seen something like that in years to come. The 2 goals yesterday were tremendous. One was a direct free kick, a bullet, all right, golazo, bust up the net. And the second one, a matter of fact, defensive blunder by Uruguay. One touch, boom, as the man come on, 2-2. And they fight it out straight down to the end. So they're still very much in the mix. A 0-0 draw against Spain, 2-2 against Uruguay. And they go into their last game with a chance to move into the knockout round of the World Cup. Cape Verde, they continue to give us some big smiles. What a tournament for that tiny nation of the west coast of Africa. And what a World Cup. Beautiful games all weekend, and we got more later on today. I will give some details during the course of the show as to what's in store for today, Monday, the 22nd. Let's head to the brief on this Monday morning. And yes, Brasso Seco gears up for Christmas in July. That's right. Good morning to the Brasso Seco family. I'm seeing a picture here, courtesy the Brasso Seco Village Council. And they had a full bazaar with the full works. Good morning to Brasso Seco, beautiful part of the country. You know, when we consider Brasso Seco in these areas, quiet, cool. It's a different life on that side. Quiet, as mentioned. Everybody kind of still, there's still a kind of community feel. And just a different liberty, a different kind of way of going about your daily routine. And good morning to our friends on that side of the island. Also, I'm seeing devotees here of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness participate in a procession there. Now it's on the Shogunas Main Road, and they're making their way. And when I see these things, I just smile because, again, everyone gets a chance to express themselves, express their faith. This is Trinidad and Tobago. This is what we are built on. Every creed and race will always find an equal place. That's the mandate. That's the experiment. That's what we're still trying to I can't say figure out. We have been able to figure it out, but there are a couple of bad actors in between who tried to, disrupt. But we're not having it. Everyone is allowed to do their procession and enjoy themselves and praise who they want to praise and find their particular faith and space in this Twin Island state, Trinidad and Tobago. With that being said, every Monday we treat with the business, the big business, movers and shakers. The Boss Report up next, and stepping in for, of course, Sarut this morning, Carissa Gobin will join us, investment analyst from Boss Securities Limited. For the Boss Report, it's up next. Stand by.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry, premier insurance coverage for less.
Low energy? Heart concerns? Migraines slowing you down? It's time to take control of your health. Join Wellness Unlocked, the series that brings expert advice and real solutions for a healthier you. In our latest episode, learn how Jameson CoQ10 can help support heart health, boost energy, and even reduce migraines. Get the science, the stories, and the steps to power up your health with CoQ10. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on CNC3 and start your wellness journey today.
The Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, teaching the truth about God's people, God's plans, and the secrets of God, all written within the pages of the Holy Bible, which is the Word of God. Watch The Hidden Truth every Thursday at 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. on CNC3.
Recession have you down? Don't lose hope. Head on down to Tire Clinic for the recession deals. Big savings with our road hazard warranty on Donald 2021 Falcon tires. Available at Tire Clinic, Cuba, Chaguanas, and Pleasance Park. Tire Clinic, a tire for every need. Call 636-8973 or 636-2958.
Carissa Gobin steps in for Saru this morning to give us the latest via the Boss Report. Carissa, good morning.
I'm Carissa Gobin, an investment analyst at Boss, and today we will be reviewing the financial performance of First Citizens Group Financial Holdings Limited, or FCGFH, and Agostini Limited, or AGL, for their respective 6 months period ended March 31st, 2026. We also provide a brief overview on potential investor opportunities stemming from the recently delivered mid-year budget review by the Honorable Minister of Finance. Firstly, let's take a look at First Citizens Group Financial Holdings Limited. The bank reported an earnings per share of $1.68 in the current period in half year 2026 versus $1.77 in the prior comparable period, down 5.1% year on year. Net interest income increased 2.4% to $1.05 billion in the current period. This was supported by a 4.5% growth in the group's loan to customers portfolio. Total net revenue advanced 7.3% to $1.5 billion. Profit before tax declined 8.7% from $632.0 million to $576.7 million in the current period. This was due to higher reported non-interest expenses and credit impairment losses. Overall profit after tax declined 4.9% to $422.9 million in the current period. Taking a closer look at First Citizens' profit before tax by segment, its largest segment, retail and corporate banking, accounts for 53% of PBT excluding eliminations and declined roughly 23% year-on-year, from $530 million in half-year 2025 to $411 million in half-year 2026. Its treasury and investment banking segment increased from $258 million to $331 million in the current period, and its trustee and asset management segment increased to $28 million. Taking a look at First Citizens trailing 12 months earnings per share increased modestly year-on-year from $3.83 in half-year 2025 to $3.84 in half-year 2026. From a valuation standpoint, the group's trailing 12 months price-to-earnings ratio has become more attractive over the years, falling from 19.3 times in half-year 2022 to 9.9 times in the current period. At a price of $37.91, First Citizens trade at a trailing PE ratio of 9.9 times, relatively in line with the banking sector average of 10.2 times, and offers investors a compelling dividend yield of 6.7%, above the sector average of 5.3%. On the basis of continued revenue growth and an attractive dividend profile, but remaining mindful of higher credit impairment charges and a newly implemented asset tax which weighed on overall profitability, BOS maintains an overweight rating on First Citizens with a watch outlook for the time being. Moving on quickly to Agostini Limited, or AGL. AGL reported an earnings per share of $1.62 in half-year 2026, down 10.5% year-on-year. Revenue advanced 4.5% to $2.9 billion. Profit before tax increased 3.1% year-on-year to $244.9 million from $237.6 million. This was supported by the recognition of a one-off net gain on acquisition, which amounted to roughly $28 million in the current period. Overall profit attributable to equity holders declined 10.8% from $125.2 million to $111.7 million. According to the group, this decline was due to softer domestic economic activity and increased foreign exchange acquisition costs that weighed on the group earnings. AGL's profit before tax by segment, its largest segment by PBT, which is consumer products, increased 31% year-on-year, moving from $121.3 million to $158.9 million. Its pharmaceutical and healthcare segment declined to $80.5 million, and its energy, industrial, and holdings segment declined significantly from $12.5 million to $5.4 million due to weaker domestic activity in the energy sector. Looking at AGL's profitability margins, so its margins have trended lower over the last 3 comparable periods, with its operating profit margin declining from 9.9% in half-year 2025 to 9% in half-year 2026. Similarly, its profit before tax margin declined to 8.4%. At a price of $59.45, Agostini trades at a trailing PE ratio of 18.9 times, below the sector average of 28.1 times, and offers investors a trailing dividend yield of 2.6%, below the sector average of 3%. On the basis of revenue growth, continued acquisition activity, including the recent acquisition of Massey Distribution Jamaica and the upcoming completion of the takeover of Prestige Holdings Limited, as well as relatively fair valuations, BOS maintains a market weight rating on Agostini with a stable outlook for the time being. Turning to TNT's fiscal update, as recently presented by the Honorable Minister of Finance in his mid-year budget review statement on June 15th, the fiscal deficit for fiscal 2026 is estimated at $7 billion, and it is expected to be financed through a mix of domestic and external borrowing, including support from multilateral development institutions. On the investment side of things, the highly anticipated NIF bond is expected around September 2026, and the planned establishment of the Real Estate Investment Trust, or REIT, or REIT, which is backed by high-value income-generated assets. Investors should note that the details on the structure and timing remain to be confirmed. And that brings us to the end of this week's edition of the Bosch Report. Please, for more information, please give us a call at 226-8773 or email us at info@bossfinancial.com. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Bosch Report.
Struggling with picky eating, or unexplained loss of appetite, or tired of trying to gain weight with no results? Apetamin is here to help. This powerful appetite stimulant encourages healthier eating, supports weight gain, and improves BMI, perfect for both adults and children. Only Apetamin contains lysine, an essential amino acid that boosts appetite, builds muscle, supports growth, and aids calcium absorption. Take control of your appetite and reach your weight gain goals with Apetamin. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Mom, Dad, this is Trevor.
Hi. He's no Kieran. Back up.
Fling? That's why he crossed the road. It was funny when Kieran said it.
Oh, who could that be?
We're like the parents who don't miss your ex.
I can't believe Kieran is in the neighborhood.
CG United. Good like that.
You shop it, you stock it, now it's time to own it. Introducing the West Indian Traders Limited initial public offering. Your opportunity to become a shareholder in the company that delivers the brands you know and love. Offer extended to June 22nd, 2026, and your minimum investment is only $100. Visit goipo.jncb.com to review the prospectus and apply today. The lead broker and arranger is NCB Merchant Bank Trinidad and Tobago Limited. Conditions apply.
Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in Trinidad and Tobago, driven by two silent threats, diabetes and high cholesterol. But now there's a powerful ally, introducing Berberine Plus by Asia Nutrition, clinically proven to stabilize blood sugar and keep cholesterol levels in check. With 99.9% pure extract, you get superior absorption and real results. Available now at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Berberine Plus, your heart deserves better.
Sportsmanship is when an athlete walks off the court and you can't tell if he won or lost because he carries himself with pride either way. This quote is an embodiment of sport, and for me, sport is an embodiment of life. We are where you are.
Filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Leroy George joins me on the phone line this morning from the Sister Isle, Tobago. He's the owner of Green Tobago Tour and a man who's on the ground who can really speak to the concerns of our brothers and sisters there in Tobago. Leroy, it's been a long time. Glad to have you back on the program. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Jason Williams. Always happy to be here. How are you doing?
All is well. How are things in Tobago, especially as it relates to the Marine Park bill and just the general mood from your brothers and sisters there on what's happening in that regard?
Well, hopefully it'll get better soon, as persons would have been hearing from the head of the Tourism Hotel Association. Business is going slower than expected around this time of the year. Persons who are in the tourism industry like myself were not the happiest people, and then to add insult to injury, there has been a push to have a particular bill called the 2026 Marine Park Bill passed into law through Parliament. If it does pass through Parliament to become law, it would be the first bill ever created by the Tobago House of Assembly that would have become law, evolved into law, not the first one that was created, however. And as a result of that, we feel as though we, the immediate stakeholders, with consensus also, feel as though we'll be stepping out on the wrong foot, because that particular bill is a very morbidly bad bill.
What are the limitations?
It emphasizes on restriction rather than protection.
What are the limitations, if you could explain to us to get a deeper understanding?
Well, if you look at Section 7 of the bill, you would see the main limitation or restriction that everybody should be concerned with, which is that in order to enter into areas that would be titled marine park areas, you would have to get permission, you would have to pay fees, etc. to get in. So basically, it would be a bit of a semi-privatization of a lot of areas, which include our beaches, and we know it includes our beaches because they have already started erecting signs in places like Buku Beach, etc. That would indicate that in order for you to be here, you would have to have permission from the Tobago House of Assembly, and the permission comes by paying fees, etc. And what we're concerned about, even more so than the possible, and I say possible because whilst the bill's name is called the 2026 Marine Parks Plural Bill, possible mass semi-privatization of the beaches in Tobago, and of course, as a result of some of these other marine areas other than the beaches being put into these restrictive categories where you have to pay fees, etc. The different tours that Trinidadians and international tourists would come to Tobago and go on. You know, you could do the glass bottom boat tour, that is the most common one, for $150 today. That price may have to go up exponentially, etc. And of course, that would be bad for Trinidadian visitors, it would be bad for Tobago stakeholders, etc. It would be bad for everybody, because once you start making things less available to persons without means, then what happens there is that you start having some socioeconomic shifts, second-class citizenry, etc., etc. And so the direct stakeholders of the first proposed marine park, which is presently an area that is under control by the 1973 Marine Areas Preservation and Enhancement Act, we, the immediate stakeholders, have, with consensus, decided we are rejecting the bill. There was no consultation done, public consultation. There was no consultation neither with the public or the immediate stakeholders, but we did have a lot of time to read the bill, etc., and we have decided we are going to reject it, and as a result, we are also promoting a petition, which we are seeking to get 400 signatures from all the 1.4 million stakeholders located here in Trinidad and Tobago, so that bill is rejected altogether, and we can avoid all the morbid side effects that will come with it.
Leroy, these restrictions, are they for sea bathers or just the pleasure craft operators?
Sea bathers, pleasure craft operators, everybody. And Section 7 of the bill, it makes that abundantly clear. All persons.
Okay, so let me ask. Now, again, I understand that you're going to push back against it, and rightfully so. But doesn't this give an opportunity to give, let's say, sea bathers and folks who want to explore Tobago a chance to probably find a new spot because, I mean, Tobago do only have Crown Point and Store Bay. I mean, come on, the reality is that there are beautiful little nooks and crannies and little hidden gems all over the island that people could probably find it might not be the tourist spot per se, but I'm sure locals know of certain spots that we might not be aware of. I'm just trying to figure out what might be the alternative if this indeed goes through.
That may be a very beautiful philosophy, etc., had it been called the 2026 Marine Park Bill, singular. However, it is called the 2026 Marine Parks Bill.
Plural.
Meaning to say, we do not know what areas. We have gotten indications that Mount Irving is in there, something that they're probably looking at. We know for certain that they're looking at Buku Beach all the way down to Storby Beach, etc. But we don't know if some of these hidden gems that you're talking about, like the Pink Sand Beach, right, in Charlottesville, that a lot of people haven't visited, would be included because it's marine parks. And it does, if you look at the wording of the bill, it gives a lot of power to one particular individual who is appointed by the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly to basically claim that any particular area is a marine park, and because Tobago is surrounded by reefs, the entire of Tobago is surrounded by reefs. There would be a strong argument for creating anything called a marine park in any particular area. Also, on top of that, there are some adventures that the average Trinbagonian has not experienced that is already in the first proposed marine park. For example, have you ever been on a bioluminescence store? A bioluminescence store, for those who don't know, is if you have ever watched a movie like Pi, you watch a Little Mermaid, you watch Avatar, you'd probably see scenes where people either swimming or animals swimming in the water and the water glowing, etc. That is called the bioluminescence light show, and it is only available on an almost nightly basis in the Bonaccord Lagoon, which falls into the particular area that is being proposed for a marine park. So there are certain, and also we also very, very concerned, as I say, that I would really not forgive myself if I forget to point out this. Every single beach in Trinidad and Tobago is supposed to have a public access point. We are seeing multiple, and not multiple, several attempts to block off the singular public access road or trail, because it's not even a road that cars could pass on, from Buku Beach to No Man's Land, both being beaches. Yeah. And as a result of that, there is some suspicion also coming through conversations through the Secretary of Tourism with the caterers at No Man's Land, etc., that some infrastructural project is, maybe a small one, is intended for the No Man's Land area. Once you have light in that No Man's Land area, you could forget about that bioluminescence, or you could forget about that particular experience, because it requires absolute darkness.
Well, Leroy, keep us posted. Keep us posted. I know we will touch base soon. I want to transition to the Tobago budget, and at least what's the top priority right now to keep the wheels turning, keep them well oiled, especially as it relates to your major income earner, which is tourism. Walk me through expectations from this budget presentation.
Expectations and hopes is two different things. When it comes to hope, what I would like to see is a strengthening of the private sector being used, having state funds being used to help to strengthen the private sector versus weaken the private sector, which is what the 2026 Marine Park Bill intends to do. And the reason why I would like to see that is because whilst you would have said that tourism is our main income earner, really and truly, in the private sector, tourism is our main income earner. But the reality of the situation is that Tobago is in a very unnatural state for two reasons. One of the reasons being 70% of the workers in Tobago, and I mean that number, 70%, 60% directly, 80% indirectly, let me call it 70%. So 70% of Tobago's workers, they are state workers, or what you call public servants, while in Trinidad they're only looking at 20%. If Tobago was its own independent nation, Tobago would be by far the most lopsided in terms of private sector workers versus public sector workers. And as a result of that, there are a lot of issues that are too many to name taking place. And so when you have money being spent on weakening the public-private sector in contrast to strengthening the private sector, that unnatural situation continues and all the negative side effects. So I would like to see facilitation. For example, let me get back to because this is what I know mostly about. Let me get back to the tourism industry. We have lost so many boats as a result of not having a slipway. Right? Part of the social contract between any people and the people that govern them or the government of these people is that facilitation of the shared needs of the society. All the boats need a slipway. Nobody is interested in building a slipway for the boat owners, etc. And as a result, many millions of dollars in boats have been lost, etc. If you're going to start talking about having the public sector or the government intervene in private sector affairs, then you have to start providing things before you start requesting things. And so that is something I would like to see happen. And Marina also would be extremely helpful. The private sector is just being damaged without any good purpose, and of course it goes beyond tourism. It goes into so many other industries. We see the construction industry has gone down by 33%. The ground is very hard here in Tobago these days, and so we would like to see facilitation of the construction industry, of the private sector in all its different forms and fashions as much as possible without being biased towards any particular individual or individuals.
Leroy, let me ask you really quick. We have like a minute again remaining. If you could just give me a really concise answer. Is the state of emergency causing a dip in arrivals to the style?
Oh, yeah. The state of emergency is definitely having a more negative effect on Tobagonians. It is directly and negatively, disproportionately affecting Tobagonians. Remember, at the end of the day, right, everybody in Trinidad and Tobago know that the only real difference that's happening with the state of emergency is that the police is having unnatural levels of power, which is why you see them behaving in the way that they're behaving. And poor Mr. Phillips had to be getting arrested for nothing and all that stuff, etc. And everybody say, okay, that is just a domestic problem. Understand that if you are international tourists and you hear that a nation is in a state of emergency, you are not going to visit because you are not listening to the micro conversations. You are not listening to the details. You're not listening to the politics of what is going on. You just know that when you hear a state of emergency, that means something very bad is going on, whether or not that is actually true. And as a result, Tobago is suffering badly as a result of the state of emergency. A lot of us feel betrayed by the Tobago East MP and the Tobago West MP who was pounding the table next to him when he made some implications that this is not having a negative effect on Tobago. Facts are stubborn and the ground is very, very, very hard right now. People are very, very depressed right now financially as a result of the state of emergency.
Well, Leroy George, let me tell you, you always...
Oh, and lastly, sorry. There has been travel advisories put out there that discourage persons from visiting Trinidad and Tobago, and as you would have pointed out, tourism is in the private sector our largest income earner.
Yeah. Well, Leroy George, let me tell you, as always, thanks for the commentary. Keep us posted. We will touch base soon, so you could kind of give me that ball by ball as to what's happening on the ground. And until then, you be safe. And thanks again for the time, Leroy. All the best.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
That's right. Leroy George there from Tobago. No stranger to the program, you know, as we say, gives us real no chaser as to what's happening. And we want to continue with that realness via the discussions this morning. David Abdullah joins me next. Treat with what happened on Labor Day in Faizabad and the fallout coming out of that arrest and that interaction. David Abdullah next.
At Cruise Inn Hotel and Yachting Center, we're all about time. In fact, once you check in, there's no time to lose. Reconnect with a little family time. Make a splash with some pool time. Spend some treasured quality time. Or just immerse yourself in some quiet time. Indulge your senses at dinner time. We even have the perfect venue when it's your celebration time. So it's high time you visit Cruise Inn. Choose our day pass or call 607-4000 to make your dinner or hotel reservations or to find out more about our event spaces. Take a time out at Cruise-In Hotel and Yachting Center.
Step into ABC Doors and Windows, where quality meets variety. Discover premium wooden, steel panel, fiberglass, and steel security doors alongside aluminum, UPVC, and steel windows designed for strength and durability. At ABC, we're always a better choice, delivering products built to last and service you can rely on. Visit our showroom at 1 Chanka Trace, El Socorro South, or call 638-7184 to make your dream home a reality.
Lucozade, bring the energy. Unbeatable taste, new look.
David Abdullah joins me on the Zoom line this morning to treat with what happened on Labor Day. David, I want to thank you for the time, for coming on this morning. And let's get to the crux of it. As always, David, great to see you. Welcome to the show.
Morning to all who are tuned in. Thank you very much for having me.
How close were you in terms of proximity to what transpired on Friday? And if you were there in proximity, could you give me, through your lens, the ball by ball?
Okay, so I spoke with Alyssa and her mom and the others at the start of the march at Avocado Junction. I've been in touch with Alyssa about their participation on June 19th, explained the protocols to them and so on, several days before June 19th. When she was arrested, no, I was not on that spot, but two of persons in MSJ jerseys, one of whom is Runako Greg, who's the MSJ spokesperson on labor law. I think you've actually had him on your program, JW.
Yes.
He was right there when it happened. I was not. So I got a call from Runako just after it happened. I had just gotten to the Charlie King Junction and I just walked into the car park of the ODB2 branch building there when I got the call when it happened. So I got a first-hand report, if you wish, of what had transpired. And then, of course, I've seen the videos, and quite apart from that, we have, and the statements by Michael Ansett. Michael Ansett was on spot and made a very important statement when he spoke. He was one of the 3 trade union leaders carded to speak at the rally at Charlie King Junction. He was the first one to speak, actually, and he devoted most of his address to this incident, and he made a very important statement because he was there. His daughter got pushed aside by the police in that situation, was assaulted in that way by the police. So he gave a first-hand report to the entire country and to all who were gathered at Charlie King Junction on the afternoon of June 19th.
David?
But yes, I wanted to address what the police statement said because, and I'm not going to pull any punches this morning, JW, not my usual education session this morning.
Let me ask, is this arrest justified in any way? Do you think that the activist and her mom, Alyssa, they're being targeted? I mean, we are just trying to figure out the justification for the action. And who would have made the call? Who called the shot, a matter of fact, for this arrest? Could you go into some details there?
Yeah, sure. So I believe they were being targeted, and I have good reason to say so, quite apart from the fact that, and I got that message on call when it was happening, that on their way down to Faizabad, near the Mosquito Creek there, near the cremation site, there's a roundabout. And a lot of maxis, or some maxis, were being stopped by the police. And, well, I suppose the police have the right to search a vehicle for arms or illegal stuff. One of the maxis, not this one, but one of the maxis or more, police officers were telling the persons and the passengers in the maxi who are coming out to Labor Day that they have to behave themselves, that it's Labor Day and they have to have the right messages. So that is not the police business whatsoever. right? And I'm going to come back to that in a while. That's not the police business. And then they did stop and search the maxi or the vehicle that Alyssa and her team were coming down in. And they were required to give their names and other information, ID and so on to the police. That is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. That's harassment. And so, yes, they were being targeted. And then when they were marching, they were holding a banner. You've seen the banner. It's been in the media, a very simple banner saying justice for Joshua, justice for Kaya. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a Christian symbolism on it as well, which is their right. And people always come down with banners and placards and things and so on to express their views as part of freedom of expression. But the police very aggressively told them to fold up the banner. You can't carry the banner, which they did. They complied with the instructions of the officer. And then Michael Anderson came and brought them into Cement and Waterfront's contingent, and so they were with him, and there are videos of him and Alyssa and others, coming down the road. They were singing whatever song was being played on the music truck when the very heavily armed riot police, full body armor, surrounded them. Now, how are two very petite ladies, because they're very petite, Alyssa in particular, how could they resist arrest from all of these big, strong, strapping men, and maybe some women as well, I don't know, in riot gear? So that's a nonsense. And then the other charge of taking part or leading an illegal demonstration, that's absolutely wrong.
Yeah, I want you to elaborate on that, because, David, I'm hearing the officers suggesting that one needs permission to march on Labor Day. There is a particular protocol that must be followed. What's been your experience? Could if I decide next year I just want to walk out and raise my voice based on some concern I have, could I do it, or do I need to apply for official permission to do so on Labor Day in a march in Faizabad?
You could do it, JW. The permission that is applied for. So first of all, the trade union, one of the trade unions, and historically is the Oil Workers Trade Union, applies for permission for a public march on June 19th. And all that is required is the date, the start point, the end point, the time that you expect to start, the time you expect to finish, and so on. That is all that is required. And because the police need that information, according to the law, they're required under the law, but they need that information so that they can do traffic management, yes? And that is primarily what it is about. They may have to block off certain roads and so on. So that is what all of that is about in terms of the police permission. Now, the police come down to ensure that there's no untoward incident, that somebody doesn't get violent, somebody drinking too much on the side of the road and decide to pelt bottles or something like that. That is what the police are there for, to make sure that there's public safety. And the trade unions have always welcomed the cooperation of the police in those kinds of matters. But the police never, ever determine who is to march. That is not the business. Right? They're fast and out of place, and I'm putting it politely because we're on a family station, JW. They're fast and out of place. So that's not the business, right? The trade unions don't determine who comes down. They invite the public, they invite everybody to come down. In fact, sometimes on the mic, the guy on the mic would be saying, don't stand on the side of the road, come and join in the march. And not only for June 19th, on May Day in San Fernando, in demonstrations in Port of Spain, the trade union comrade on the mic would say, don't stand on the sidelines, this is your issue, come and join the march, and so on. So people are invited to join the march. Anybody could, as the Calypsonian sang, the road make to walk on Carnival Day, the road make to walk and march on Labor Day. That is the history and the culture. And I've organized countless Labor Day and other marches in Trinidad and Tobago, and that is the arrangement. The police talked about they having to preserve the sanctity of Labor Day. That is crap, absolute crap. That is not the commissioner's business. He's abusing his power, he's overreaching. And I'm saying that is a descent into a police state when the police begin to do things that have nothing to do with what their responsibilities are. Who takes part in a demonstration is anybody can come down. We have had UNC people coming down in UNC jerseys. We've had P&M people coming down in P&M jerseys. NGOs have come down. Religious organizations have come down. They never got the agreement of the organizers to come down. The organizers may have said, you find your place at the back of the demonstration so that the country could see the trade unions marching first as a grouping, and then others coming down thereafter.
David, in the limited time that remains before we head to the 7 a.m. news update, what do you think all this is doing to the public image of the TTPS?
It is damaging it, and it is going to take a long time before this damage can be repaired. Because if the police want to deal with crime and violence, and everybody wants the police to deal with crime and violence, nobody wants that, to crime and violence to be taking place in the country. They need the trust and confidence of the citizens, and what they're doing is absolutely damaging the trust and confidence of the citizens by over-policing, by repression. I want to say it's police repression that is taking place and the descent into a police state. The police can't be telling people, they told people to take off some jersey that was saying no to racism, no to genocide. I mean, where are we? So genocide is something that we must not speak out against. Racism is something that we must not speak out against. Apartheid is something we must not speak out against. That is not the police business. That is those kind of jerseys. That was not inciting anybody to pick up a gun and shoot at police. No. The police are doing a terrible disservice, and I'm calling on the Police Service Commission to call in the commissioner and the deputy commissioners and read the Riot Act to them, because they're abusing their power and they're attacking the rights of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. This proclamation of the state of emergency by Her Excellency the President spoke about criminal gangs, murders, threats to public officials being made from behind prison walls. That is what the state of emergency was to deal with, not public protests and so on by citizens. No. And the government better make a statement on this as well, otherwise people will say the government is complicit in what the police actions are.
You know, it's unfortunate,
David. We're in a bad place. They have to stop.
Yeah, I agree, and you know what's unfortunate, you know, this morning I mentioned the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law. And a lot of times I have seen in my lifetime where officers give you a blind, there is that sense of discretion, and they use that emotional intelligence in the moment. Once you're humble, you more or less will get a warning and keep it pushing. I don't know where we are right now, because it seems that the letter is overriding the spirit, and that sense of discretion, that sense of reading the room is kind of lost. And I don't know if they were able to read the room. I mean, again, I wasn't there, you weren't there, we didn't see firsthand the interaction and what led to the arrest. But it really is a sour point on what is supposed to be, when we consider Labor Day and the ethos of Labor Day and what it represents, us lifting our voices from 1937 to now. That's what Labor Day is supposed to represent, you know, a space for the voiceless. But I don't know where we're going, David.
Yeah, agreed. And in this instance, I'm saying that the police not only didn't read the room, but I'm saying they also went against the letter of the law. I could recall one instance when I made a mistake when we organized Labor Day, and we had a foreign comrade, Tim Hector, I think it was, speaking and giving the feature address or one of the guest addresses on the platform. Now, for a public meeting, you don't require permission of the Commissioner of Police. You simply have to inform the Commissioner of the public meeting. But if there's a non-national, you're supposed to inform the Commissioner that there's a non-national coming to speak. And I omitted that in the application for the informing of the public meeting. And a senior officer came quietly to me and said, Mr. Abdullah, you know, Mr. Hector is not a national as the officer. You know, my bad. I really apologize. It was completely inadvertent error on my part. And he said, all right, let's not have this happen again. And we agreed. Quiet, gentlemanly discussion on the side, because it didn't make sense to try to stop Mr. Hector. I agree that there was a slip-up in that regard.
And discretion was shown.
And discretion was shown. But what happened on June 19th was a violation of the letter, quite apart from the spirit.
Well, David, as always, thank you so much for the perspective this morning, and let's see how things pan out in the days and weeks ahead. All the best.
Thanks a lot for having me, JW. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Let's get ready for the 7 a.m. news update. I really want to hear from you concerning the Labor Day happenings, and you'll get that chance after 7. Let's touch base.
Check. Brought to you by the Central Bank and the National Financial Literacy Program.
Good morning, I'm Keyshawn Haynes with headline news on CNC3 and the TBC radio network. A suspected car thief was arrested in Claxton Bay on Saturday night after the owner of a maxi taxi, assisted by a relative and an off-duty police officer, chased him down. Police said the owner had left the $250,000 vehicle idling in his driveway shortly before 7:30 p.m. and later spotted a man reversing it onto the roadway. The trio pursued the suspect and intercepted the maxi taxi. The 30-year-old Claxton Bay man was arrested and treated for injuries. Investigations are continuing. In a separate incident, a Princestown businessman was robbed of more than $40,000 in cash and valuables after being ambushed outside his home just before 1 a.m. on Saturday. Police said 3 armed bandits beat him on the head with a wheel spanner before fleeing. And a Moruga man has been left homeless after fire destroyed his house early on Saturday morning. Firefighters responded, but the home was already engulfed in flames. The cause of the blaze remains under investigation. President of the Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Rondell Fields, is calling on the government to introduce 8 to 12 weeks of paternity leave. He says meaningful parental rights for men are long overdue. Fields made the appeal during a hike and plant event in Williamsville, where volunteers, young couples and families planted more than 100 seedlings. He said fathers have been a vital part of the workforce for generations, but their legal rights as parents remain limited.
Our call this year has been to the government for the increase of paternity leave, not even increase, but legislation for substantial paternity leave of 8 to 12 weeks for men. Men have been a part of the labor force for the last 129 years, yet they still have not been able to obtain meaningful parental rights.
Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar paid tribute to fathers and father figures from Trinidad and Tobago, thanking them for their love, sacrifice, and dedication to their families. Persad-Bissessar described fatherhood as both a profound responsibility and a precious blessing, saying fathers help shape lives, strengthen communities, and inspire future generations. She urged fathers to remain actively involved in their children's lives, even when circumstances don't allow. Meanwhile, in her Father's Day message, opposition leader Penelope Beckles says too many men are struggling with financial pressures, mental health challenges, violence, and the absence of support systems for fathers. Beckles said as if she becomes Prime Minister, she will pursue policies aimed at strengthening families and supporting men and boys. She promised expanded access to stigma-free mental health services, fatherhood and co-parenting support programs, workplace policies that allow fathers to spend more time with their children, mentorship initiatives for young men, and programs to help break cycles of violence, absenteeism, and hopelessness. Beckles also called on fathers to play active roles in their children's lives and seek help when facing personal struggles. Stay tuned for another update at the top of the hour and for more comprehensive coverage in our midday news and major newscast at 7 p.m. on CNC3.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800 TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800 TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Welcome to a new era of driving in Trinidad and Tobago. Let me introduce to you Omoda and Jaco, two global automotive brands, redefining style, technology, and performance. This is just the beginning.
welcome back. 5 minutes after 7. Let's get to the lines immediately. It's open forum time. You are live. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, pleasant good morning, Jason.
Hey, Shogunas, morning.
Hi, Joe. Jason, a happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers out there, right?
Yes.
But let me say something here, and I don't mean this in any way, right? One of the best pieces of advice I could give to many men outside there, right? Better all you lock up shop. Because all you want 4 and 5 and 6 children, and all you put in pressure on all yourself, brother. All you put in pressure on all yourself, right? That don't make the mantle of a man. If you have 5 and 6 children, that does make him irresponsible, especially if he's children all over the place. And he ain't giving this one nothing, he ain't giving that one nothing. And not only from a material perspective, but also from a fatherly love perspective, right? Being able to give some words of advice for being there for your children, right? If not there, and that is one big breakdown in society, right? So one of the best pieces of advice I could give all, better all lock up shop. Don't have no more children. You understand what I'm saying? Don't put no pressure on all yourself. Because too much at times we outside here as people, we blame this one and that one and we point fingers all over the place, but we looking in the mirror and asking ourselves how we get in this position in the first place. Understand what I'm saying, Jason?
Yeah. Right? Solid
right.
commentary, solid.
And I also want to say something to the single father, the president. Mm-hmm. Listen, I think that you mean well, but here what happened. All that paternity leave ain't really called for. All right, let me be real, right? It's the woman making the child, right? All that paternity leave ain't called for, right? That just calling for more laziness among men. You understand what I'm saying, right? So I got to see that everybody, right, the whole nation has made observation as who is the prime minister right now, acting prime minister right now, right? So that they can clear up any sort of ambiguity and understand exactly with the position, with all the race talk, with the politics and everything like that. All right. Jason, you have a good day. I'm glad you ran draw yesterday. I watched that. Right. You take care.
Yeah, all the best, Shogunas. Thanks for touching base. I think what Fields is pushing for as it pertains to the paternity is really just it's in keeping with international standards. We have seen where in parts of Europe and other first world forward-thinking nations, the men are given a little more time at home to also bond with the family, with the newborn. I could agree that, if you can handle it and you can mind your children and you can spend time, which is an important point you raise, it's not just about the financial part, it's about spending time and being that father. Yes, you probably should lock up shop. But for the fathers who really on the ball and want to spend some time, I mean, the limited time that's given, obviously I think it's something we could look at, and I could understand where Fields is coming from to give fathers that opportunity to bond with the family and to be there. Not only for the child, but also for the mother. The mother might need some assistance. Yes, so it's a good point. But that's one we could always debate on some more tomorrow. Who's on the line? Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Jason.
Good morning. Welcome, Faizo.
Tell Mrs. Williams I said happy birthday and I wish her many more happy ones.
Yes, we're coming on south today actually, so I'll be on your side, Faizo.
All right.
For sure.
Jason, I saw the opposition took the marbles and ran home last week again.
Yeah, in terms of the walkout?
Yeah.
And you know what's strange? Faizo, I remember Marvin Gonzalez sitting down here on the couch and suggesting that is a strategy they're not going to employ anymore, but I don't know why. To me, stay there and deal with the music.
Yes, it's a failed strategy, clearly. Jason, I want to touch on the Elsa Phillips thing. Yes? Mm-hmm. Firstly, I noticed that there were nobody from the pressure group, as I would want to call it, to welcome her at the airport. I think if you're so concerned, you would have had an entourage there, welcoming her. When they arrested her, you would have seen some form of protest. But let me go to the OWTU thing. Clearly, this is a group that has been identified by the police. That one that is gathering and protesting and what have you. Labor Day, you wanted to be peaceful and what have you. Maybe they would have gone down there, emotion would have riled, and things could have gotten out of hand. More than that, if she would have come there as an individual, Jason, I think she would not have been, arrested or what have you. But they came as a group, as an organization, and the law clearly states, if you want to participate then you should apply for the requisite permit. You know, so all this thing could have been avoided if the correct thing was done.
Now, Faizo, we go back to what I would have mentioned with David Abdullah. There is the letter of the law, and then there is the spirit of the law, Faizo. And the fact of the matter is the TTPS taking that position on Friday. Look at us now, days after we having this discussion, and all the goodwill and the work, tremendous work, by the way, Faizo, that's been done by the TTPS, is almost being undermined by some of these decisions because, again, the wider public looking at this through a kind of different lens, you know, Faizo.
I am hearing what you are saying, Jason, but there are people who are sharing the same sentiments that I do, and they would not have the voice, or they are not given the opportunity to voice their opinion. And
that's why I'm happy. That's why I'm happy able to express it on the program to kind of give a different side.
It's a mixed bag, you know.
But but you're in the minority here, Faizo. That's the unfortunate reality. When you walk the ground, if you walk the ground and you really talk to the average man on the ground right now, it's not looking good, you know, Faizo.
Jason, that might be so, and I'm agreeing with you. But all I am saying to you is if they would have done the correct thing, because I understand that the police would have asked her, you know, the leader of the group, and she claimed to be the leader of the group, and it is no secret. There is some adversity between the police and that group.
So in a sense, we're admitting she's been targeted because clearly she is raising or at least putting in the public domain the perceived incompetence of the said TTPS. So it come like, don't shine me up. If you're gonna shine me up, we will arrest you. Basically, that's what's going on, you know, Faizo.
And I am saying to you, if she would have done the correct thing, Jason, we are not under normal times. We are under SOE. And I heard David Abdullah. Never before, you know, you would have that kind of situation. But we are under SOE, David. And it's clearly spelled out that people seem to be omitting that part of the conversation.
And you're factual. We are under SOE. And I have to stand down based on...
And nobody is actually highlighting that. People are getting carried away emotionally. And Mr. Anistet said they're going to take it to the lawyer. And I suggest that you invite the Commissioner of Police to come on your program, and maybe one or two lawyers, and have them deal with the thing in a real way.
So Faizo, when I say I stand down, I'm not going to stand down pussy on my point. But I'm going to stand down based on the fact that what you're saying is accurate. We are under a SOE. However, I'm trying to figure out what she did to incite, or because I know you said that she's there to a group and there was the possibility she could have raised her aunt's nest. But I mean,
correct.
Faizo, you live in the space. I mean, you would have seen, I'm sure, the parade pass right in front of your premises. You ever see Alisa Phillip? I mean, what Alisa Phillip and the mom could really do
you see, and that's it.
To shake the cage of the TTPS?
No, maybe. Not maybe, but it is well-intentioned, Jason. I'm not disputing that. But what I am saying to you, her supporters could have done things differently. Would probably, you know, cause disruption. And by the way, you know, I am seeing a political tinge entering this thing, Jason. The politicians are riding the back of these things, whether you want to believe it yes or no. And so, you know, she was up in Faizabad at the police station until Saturday afternoon.
Well, I mean, you need space, so you would know. I didn't know she was there.
So I am saying to you, if you know, it is sad that you are leading an organization and nobody in your group were able to acquire bail for you, Jason.
Well, I mean, Faizo, I hear you, and I guess that's why I love these discussions. I mean,
it says something.
Well, Faizo, I want to take a next call. But I want to thank you, Faizo, because again, that's what the open forum is about. I love these kind of discussions because again, Faizo is showing it through a different lens, and we have to listen to Faizo too. At the end of the day, he's seeing it from a different perspective. He's calling for following the letter of the law, proceeding with the protocol, making the request. But then again, we have to consider too, Faizo, that Labor Day at its core. When you do that deep surgical, it's really supposed to be a voice for the voiceless. And it's the first time in a long time I've seen a voice being literally muted during especially a Labor Day march. Really, really interesting times. Let's start to St. James. St. James, welcome. Like we're not getting St. James, let's probably move on. 624-8721, 627-8658. All I'm saying is, it didn't look good, it didn't feel good. Something didn't resonate in my spirit. And I speak here open and honest. You don't have to agree all the time. I just speak my particular honesty and reality to you. And here is where you could now speak your reality back to me and the rest of the nation. But we are in some interesting times, and I find myself wondering if this momentum continues and the frustration builds up, people will explode in this place, And we have done it in the past. Doesn't happen every year, every decade, but when things boil over in this place, we kind of could look at the history and see what takes place. Tabakit, you're the last call this morning. I'm listening. Go ahead, Tabakit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jason Williams. Pleasant Monday morning to you.
Pleasant Monday morning.
It is the greatest atrocity have been infiltrated on Labor Day. Mr. Williams, let me repeat. It is the greatest atrocity have been infiltrated on Labor Day. The spirit of Butler, he would be turning in his grave. You know what is sad, Mr. Williams? The Thursday leading into Friday, you had a double murder. Why the police didn't take that same set of heavy tactical men and go and find the killers? And that it is mind-boggling this morning to see where we would have reached. And I'm saying, look, if this is how the Commissioner of Police want to conduct policing in Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Williams, indeed, it's a sad day. It's a sad day for democracy. And you know what is really sad? To see these 20 strong men. The question I have for the Commissioner, do you have a daughter? To the question to all these policemen, what you all is doing to this young girl, it is wrong, it is unaccepted. And I am saying here, via your program, Mr. Williams, shame on the Commissioner of Police, Tabakit out and off.
Tabakit speaks with so much passion, and he really gets it off his chest, and you could tell he is hurting this morning. Of course, Faizabad gave a whole different perspective. Shagonas, as always, coming in very sharp with the commentary. I want to thank everybody for calling. I mean, that's what the open forum is about. We don't have to agree on everything, but at least we get a chance to express it and hopefully learn from each other's perspective. Thank you so much for all who took the time to call this morning. Up next, we get into a very important discussion, and it's to speak and treat with safety children. Very topical, very relevant. We welcome clinical psychologist Dr. Khan. She joins me next.
Welcome to Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Do enjoy, Stacey. You want some coffee?
Can I have a bit?
Perfect then.
That's exactly what we need.
Hey, the pool is this way.
Whatever you're here for, we're here for you. Stay smart at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Period nights don't have to look like this. Move less, wake up to change. So change for a real night's sleep with Always Overnight. Its 3 times protection system absorbs, locks the fluid, and keeps it away from your skin. For protected nights without leaks. Always.
Step into a world of opportunities at CTS College, where education is beyond academics. Winner of over 50 world prizes, as well as ACTT Student Service Award. It's a college of your choice for quality education, guaranteed to unlock your true potential. Internationally recognized degree programs. Choose a degree that is right for you. Come in for your free career guidance session and start your future today with CTS College.
clinical psychologist Dr. Khatija Khan joins me. She's on the Zoom line this morning. Dr. Khan, I want to thank you for the time. I look forward to the council. A very relevant and important discussion ahead. Children's safety and the environment that's going to foster them and bring them into adulthood. Welcome as always.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to all your listeners and viewers.
Before we check in on the children, let's start with the parents. And we have come from a time where the community and those within the space would play an active role in not only raising the child, but also disciplining the child. I mean, I grew up, my formative years down Erie, and there's still an element of that in certain rural parts of the country, but as it relates to the urban space, we're in a time where, God forbid, someone is to discipline someone's child, that person will end up probably in trouble, not only with the parent of the child, but probably the systems that are now in place. Try to walk me through from then to now, from that community involvement to now, parents, basically not allowing that kind of activity and more or less sometimes coming out to defend children, sometimes with their bad behavior, as it were.
First, you raise an important point that I think everybody has noticed, that over time things have changed, the role of the community, the role of the family. First, I want to make a distinction, Jason, between guidance and discipline. So discipline would be the reaction. So the child does something and we have to try and correct. But I think before we get to discipline, children need guidance. So that's the proactive role that parents and the community can serve to help children make decisions, to make decisions for children, because children can't make all decisions for themselves. That is why we have parents and guardians to help them. But back to your question about this change that we're seeing, I think that lifestyle that many of us remember, the landscape has changed. So communities, some of them are no longer as protective, and sometimes we need to protect children from the community. It's a sad thing, but that's some of the reality that we are facing. I think also families are changing, so we don't always, not every family has an extended network of support. Now that said, notwithstanding the changes, that does not mean that community does not have a very significant role to play. And in fact, many of the interventions for children can't just stay within the family. They have to come from the community. And we do have many of these in our society. We just need to amplify and put more support and resources and funding to the ones that are positive.
So Dr. Khan, through your research, case studies, and just being in the space, why would a parent defend a child in their deviant behavior, as opposed to a time when if we misbehave, we nervous because we know our parent will probably side with miss or side with the principal and we'll be in double trouble. But we find ourselves now where parents are running up on teachers looking to oppose those in authority as they, that's my child, leave my child alone, even when the child is in the wrong. What's the essence of that kind of defense by a parent?
I think there are multiple reasons that can explain that. So the first one is sometimes they don't know better. So they think that they're doing this out of love and in the child's best interest, but sometimes a lack of sufficient information and awareness can lead people to make misinformed decisions. I think also sometimes as adults, we are carrying a lot of our own unresolved trauma. So if I had a history of where systems did not pick up for me, I had bad experiences in school or bad experiences with authority figures, then that could spill over into my interaction, even though I am not the primary person being affected and it's my child now. So that lack of trust or that breakdown of trust in institutions and authority is also something that we want to address. And for us to be able to maintain that trust, then institutions also have to fulfill their role to reassure people that they are trying to safeguard children and protect them and guide them on the right path.
But doesn't that empower the child if a child knows that they will be defended in their bad behavior by a parent or a guardian? Doesn't that give them even more energy, more impetus to get on better than that, to take it to go beyond the boundary, as it were?
It does reinforce it. I mean, as children, many of us seek our children's approval, and so that approval can reinforce the behavior. But what it also does is it's sending mixed messages to the child, because they will still be hearing messages from others that this behavior needs some sort of guidance and correction. And when children receive those mixed messages, it can be very confusing to them, because then they are trying to figure out themselves. They're building their identity. They are learning how to make decisions. They're going to grow into adults who are going to be making decisions for themselves. I think it's really important that we recognize that children need structure, consistency in the guidance and the messages that they receive.
The children who are really on the edge, the ones who are doing the most from a clinical standpoint, how do you all treat with that? Because many people call in, or you hear discussions in the maxi or in the supermarket. There is this feeling that the system should be hard, we should send them MILAT, military training. And I'm saying to myself, well, if the child is already showing deviant behavior, already showing a hard, tough exterior, why put them into an even tougher environment? I think the opposite of hard should be soft, and not meaning you baby them up. But I'm wondering, where do we start in terms of that guidance, trying to get them back to a place of normalcy? Are there still the guidance officers? I had a guidance officer in school. What's that structure like, and are they equipped to really treat with, and we're talking here the hardest of the hard, the children who are really going over and beyond. How do you treat with that child?
Well, first, we can't label all children the same brush. So we have to do the assessment. Different levels of risk will require different levels of intervention. And before I talk some more about that, we can't engage in these matters if we're angry and frustrated. Then we're not going to be making the best decision. We'll be reacting out of emotion, and emotions are important, but not if they lead us to make decisions that are not based on evidence and need. Yeah? So we need to assess the level of risk of the child, and that assessment will also identify what are the factors at play. So is there a history of this behavior? Is this a one-off? Are there environmental factors? Are there issues in this child's family, with their education, with the community and who they're exposed to? What is this child's history? What kind of experiences have they had? Is there trauma in this child's background? Then we can do other assessments as well to determine their level of awareness, their level of functioning, their psychological functioning, and those assessments then allow us to determine what kind of risk is this child facing and what kind of intervention do they need. So for some children, it may be additional monitoring and some additional guidance, and for some others, it may be more serious interventions, and this could be placement in a certain agency or institution, or it could be other professional help where we intervene. So it's not a one brush to paint every child who is deviant. We need to figure out the why and the how to address it. And that takes time, and that takes investment in sustainable interventions, not one-offs interventions with children that we punish and then we put them back in the same environment.
No.
If we want sustainable change, we have to invest in these children over the long run.
Thank you for that response. It seems very structured, what you just explained, and that's why these discussions are so important. I want to ask you, what's also important to young people, and we also could relate to that, music, pop culture, entertainment. We all could recall our early bazaar days, going to the bazaar, we sweaty in the back of the bazaar, scrubbing down, ram, you remember the days, you know the thing, Dr. Khan?
Of course, those were our days.
Right,
yes.
We had our moments. Yes. What's your perspective on the now generation as it pertains to pop culture, entertainment, that space for them to express themselves and to free up?
Yeah. Well, I think just like our generation, music is very important for young people. When we talk about our music, oftentimes we are referring to the music that we listened to when we were teenagers. So developmentally, let's understand that this is perfectly normal for children to take a great interest in these things. Now, what has changed since our generation is that children are now exposed to a lot more Okay, so internet, social media, there's a lot more that they're exposed to, and it becomes really hard for parents to then figure out, well, what my child listening to, because now they're going beyond the records that were in the home or what is playing on radio. Now they can find any kind of music, and any kind of music can find them, and not all music has a positive impact on children. So we do have to be careful about what they're listening to and what they're consuming.
How early a thing should be? Because, I mean, for us, a lot of us, our first party experience would have been the school bazaar, and then later on, obviously, graduate to the big fete and the all-inclusives. What do you think is a good age for a child to really start the party scene? I mean, as a parent, if a parent was to ask you, you know what's a good age for a child to go out and really experience the circuit? What would be your response through your, clinical psychologist lens?
Yes. So let's distinguish between party scene and children party scene. So if we're talking about the adult party scene, then the ideal age is when they're an adult, when they're an older teenager with some guidance, and parents could accompany their children to safeguard them further. But let us also realize that you can have parties for children that are age appropriate. You can have parties for them in primary school, in secondary school. They can be very appropriate. Back in the day when I was a teenager, we had these parties in South, and they were fundraisers often for school activities as well, called 2 to 8s. You remember those, Jason?
Of course. The
Yes.
2 to 8s, yeah.
And so we would go to the same club that would be open at night for adults. But these were teenagers, so there was no alcohol served. You did not have adults attending these parties. These were parties for teenagers, by teenagers. And as I said, there's no alcohol, there's no drugs available at these events. So I think perhaps that is something we could start to think about. Do we have enough spaces, entertainment spaces, for children to have healthy social activities that do not put them at risk?
Thank you so much, Dr. Khan. Because again, the reason I brought that up is because pop culture music is a major part of a child's coming of age.
Yes,
and I just really wanted to get some perspective. Any closing remarks as we, again, consider children, the community, where we are as a country, and why we need to really protect them based on some of the unfortunate news we have been seeing for 2026?
There's a reason that we have parental guidance. For movies, you have like a PG-13 and a rated R for TV shows. And there are reasons for that. And it's because not everything is suitable for children's consumption. And so we have to be really careful about what children are exposed to, because it can have an impact on them. It can affect their own development. It can lead them to having really harmful, unhealthy views about the world out there, especially when it's adult themes. So whether it is partying and drinking and relationships and sex and gender roles, we have to be really careful that what children are being exposed to is suitable for them. And we as the adults have to take that responsibility. It's our responsibility. We can't leave it up to children. We have to be the ones to guide them. So whether it's parents or the other adults who are responsible for hosting events and promoting events, and also the authorities, we are the ones who have to provide that safety net for our children.
Dr. Khan, sincere thanks. Let's keep in touch. Let's keep this conversation going. I think it's an important one.
Indeed.
And, some really solid points into the public domain. And I want to thank you for that this morning. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's right. Up next, we head across to UWI St. Augustine. Full details concerning a great coming together of those within the media space. For those who love communication, this is right up your alley, and it's a conference that's taking place soon. Full details after the break.
The detergent smells nice while washing, but when you use the new Downy Intense fabric softener, with its new multi-capsule fragrance, it releases an intense scent that lasts twice as long. With the new Downy Intense, you'll enjoy a rich and delightful fragrance that keeps you feeling fresh 24/7.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help You need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Attention all listeners, are you ready for the ultimate news experience? Introducing the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, the nation's first and most subscribed newspaper. We deliver where others can't. With the widest delivery network in TNT, you can have the Guardian delivered right to your doorstep or office every single day. Take advantage of our special annual subscription offer so you can stay on top of the leading stories even when you're on the go. Sign up today. Time is running out. Inquire about our 3-month and 6-month packages as well. Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
Filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
In the ever-changing media landscape, we at Guardian Media strive always to put you, our viewers and readers, first.
We strive to uphold the time-honored tenets of responsible journalism.
For us, accuracy is key.
And in our reporting, we strive not only to be first, but fair,
impartial,
and to uphold journalistic integrity.
Above all, we are accountable to you, and we must respect the views of our audience. That is our solemn contract with you.
Keen attention to detail,
rigorous verification of facts.
Keep track of our editorial policies and guidelines, including our corrections policy, by logging on to www.guardian.co.tt for more.
Each day I ask myself, how can our country be better than it was yesterday? We all hope for a better society, but not many understand the power of their influence to change the world around them. A small act of kindness holds as much power as a camera, a mic, or even a seat in the parliament when it comes to achieving societal development. I understand that my purpose extends beyond being a mere observer. I am an active participant in shaping the world around me. From the stories I write to the newscast I produce, it is my hope that everyone is heard and understood. We are where you are.
Wow. Well, let me tell you, it's such a beautiful engagement that's going to take place on Wednesday and Thursday at the University of the West Indies. We will give you all the details because this is right up your alley if you're an influencer, journalist, you're in media, communication, for those who have to speak at their workplace and, treat with presenting their brand. This is one you don't want to miss. And I want to get some details because we welcome Amanda Zilla. She joins me on set, and we have Dr. Wanda Chesley. Ladies, I just want to say congratulations in advance because this International Media and Communication Conference, I think it's well timed. And based on the panel, I know it's going to be well executed. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
Your target audience, I would have mentioned a couple of categories, but could you expand beyond that? Who's this for exactly? Who's your target audience?
I would say everyone. With the open platforming of generative AI with things like ChatGPT and Claude and all of these things, it's really changing how everyone is communicating. And regardless of what field that you work in, there is some dimension of communication involved in jobs. Even if you work in like the oil and gas industry or even like a corporate environment, there will always be an opportunity where you could be looking at how to leverage this technology to improve your workflows and to optimize your operations.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Dr. Chesley, with the esteemed panel and all that's going to transpire, what do you hope would be the greatest takeaway? I mean, obviously, everyone will go there and get their own experience, but when you all are planning this and curating this experience, what you hope would be one of the greatest takeaways from Wednesdays and Thursdays engagement?
What I'm hoping essentially is that people will come to understand and recognize how we're using AI, the power of AI, the way in which it's changing how we live, how we work, how we communicate, and the fact that we do not have a role to play in how this information has been constructed. What I'm hoping is that we can come together as a Caribbean people where we can co-construct and co-create some kind of AI systems that would value our inputs, because at this point in time, it doesn't. And we're merely consumers. We want to be co-creators.
Yeah, because it's so important what you're saying. The fact that it's reshaping, the way we communicate, the way we create, the way we connect, and our way of communication in the Caribbean, as you know, it's unique. We have our own style, our values, our own language, as it were. I'm seeing in Jamaica right now they're pushing for patois to be recognized as part of their main language. So we find ourselves in a really interesting time. But when it comes to expressing orally, like basically public speaking, is there any part of the conference that's going to treat with that, helping people to find their voice, as it will?
Yeah, well, there's the whole reason of starting the conversation is to create this kind of critical consciousness, because people are basically just jumping on and just using AI without thinking about what it's doing to us. Mm-hmm. We're using a system that was not created with us, but for us. Mm. And so it's requiring a shift in the system, in our thinking, so that we can just pause and determine, well, okay, this has significant implications. This is about the power of knowledge, and it's not just simply what it presents. Now, if we have no control over our content and our culture, what we're in essence doing is recolonizing the minds using the information from the West. There's a whole lot of bias in that information. If you notice right now, there is a pressure on all the countries for data. Everybody's on a drive to get data, Yes, it's been a weakness for us in terms of how we record data. But there is a pressure right now on all countries of the South. Everybody's hustling now to get data and to have data ready, But then what is behind this?
You said something so powerful, Dr. Chesley, the recolonization of the mind. Now, we can't have it. We can't allow it. And I guess these conversations are so important and so timely. Let me ask you, Amanda Zilla, in terms of the panelists, some of the speakers, I know there's some folks coming from overseas also to engage. Who are some of the personalities that will be on stage?
Right, so we have a keynote by Professor, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correct, Pierogi, right?
Where is he from?
The United States.
Okay.
He's originally from Nigeria, but he's a professor at one of the universities in the U.S. He's written extensively.
That's him on screen there?
Yep.
Yeah,
and he's versed in that AI world and that space.
Yes.
And we also have a number of spotlight speakers. So we have Miss Andrea Jacobs, and right from within our campus itself, we have Dr. Craig Ramlal, who's the Executive Director of the Artificial Intelligence Innovation Center.
Excellent. Let me know in terms of, because I know obviously there will be a cost attached and one will have to book their stuff in advance. I mean, I doubt will you accommodate walk-ins on the day, or was that set up?
Yeah, we will, but we're trying to get persons in, in terms of being able to cater properly and so on. And so persons can register online, that's it. You can register on spot, anywhere, anytime, right now. And so the cost for students, there's a special cost for postgraduate students, it's just $75 US. For persons who want to join us online, it's $150 US. Persons who want to come in to have discussions and to be a part of the discourses with these professors, it's just $250 US. And we're targeting persons from all forms of media, persons in corporate communication. We want to have the media practitioners because we know that they've already started using AI and everything, but it's important to understand their role. We also want the social media influencers, the citizen journalists, and as Amanda was saying earlier, persons from just about every sector. Educators as well, because could you imagine how it's changing the way that we teach?
Yeah, I mean, we are in some interesting times. I think our generation, we have seen it all, We have seen Betamax turn to VHS, turn to DVD.
Yes.
We see vinyl turn to mini disc, turn to CD. Music now in the cloud. So we have really come from analog to digital. Let me ask you, as we wrap things up, Amanda, I know everything can register online. Just tell me where we can get the information and where, just direct us where to go.
Sure, so you can get the information on any of the departments of literary and cultural and communication studies social media pages. So that would include like their Instagram, and you can also contact the conference secretariat. But if I'm not sure if we have made that information available to you all, but if we have not, the email address is on the flyer on the screen there. And once you contact us, you will receive instructions on how to go about continuing to register for the conference.
Well, ladies, I want to say congrats in advance. This International Media and Communication Conference, well-timed, up to the time, speaking to the time, AI's value to corporate communication. Please, when it's all done and the dust settles, give us a little postmortem and let me know how it went down.
Certainly.
All the best. It's going to be again at UE this Wednesday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Check out their website, scan the QR code, and get all the details. Up next, we get you ready for an engagement that's happening at the Big Black Box. That's right. Full details next.
Extra, read all about it.
We are more than headlines, more than stories on a page.
The Trinidad and Tobago Guardian newspaper, your favorite national newspaper, is relaunching its community feature section with one major focus in mind.
It's all about we Trinis.
We life and culture.
We heritage.
We health.
We food. We music.
We community.
We men. We women.
We kids, yay! Everything we love and adore. We are every part of Trinidad and Tobago. And now, We is a space where every reader sees themselves reflected. Introducing We, The Guardian's bold new celebration, a magazine dedicated to irresistible stories and features that celebrate the very best of Trini life. Our stories, our culture, our life.
In the ever-changing media landscape, we at Guardian Media strive always to put you, our viewers and readers, first.
We strive to uphold the time-honored tenets of responsible journalism.
For us, accuracy is key.
And in our reporting, we strive not only to be first,
but fair.
Impartial.
And to uphold journalistic integrity.
Above all, we are accountable to you, and we must respect the views of our audience. That is our solemn contract with you.
Keen attention to detail.
Rigorous verification of facts.
Keep track of our editorial policies and guidelines, including our corrections policy, by logging on to www.guardian.co.tt for more.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT. This is more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
Welcome back. Just had to confirm it's a design on the tie, not the typing crooked, folks. That's the actual design. Just had to put that out there. Thanks so much for the, people watching they're making sure the boy in our order. I want to welcome my next guest, Bruce Kayoni, the sign man. You know his work. That's right. You would have seen it time and time again. Bruce, I want to say kudos to you, my friend. You have made such a mark. And I'm happy that this exhibition is in full swing. Great to have you in the program, my friend.
Thank you so much. And good morning to you again and your viewers on Morning Brew.
Tell me, the exhibition, walk me through what's in store. I mean, obviously it started already. It's going up until the 26th.
That's right.
Let me know, what inspired the exhibition?
Well, firstly, what inspired the exhibition is me finding a way to tell my story through my science. Because I started this almost 40 years ago, and I've went through a few evolutions and a few changes and transformations along the way. And I wanted to invite persons who would have been seeing my work for all these years on the streets of Trinidad and Tobago to see the changes, because they wouldn't be able to go back in the mind and recognize that changes happen. So I wanted to present that in a exhibition form, and so to tell my story from the colors that I used to use back then, and the way I painted my stuff, the materials I use, and so forth. But this exhibition opened on Friday last, the 19th of June. We had an excellent opening. Lots of persons were there, and now we are into the third day today. Tomorrow is a very, very important day in the exhibition for me and anyone who will be there. Tomorrow is what we have in the artist talk with myself and artist Christopher Cozier. So persons can engage with me, ask me questions, just like you asking me questions now. Persons who want to know more about my work, more about me. This is an excellent opportunity to do so. And then on Friday, what we call in the closing night or the closing jam, which will be in the form of a kind of vibes thing, kind of party/lime. We have DJs like Dr. Hyde and DJ Kabuki, DJ Sky from Arima. And so that will be taking place on that night. But further to that, the exhibition will be closed to the general public from the 26th. But on the 27th and the 28th, this is two very important days where I pass on all my knowledge in workshop formats. So I'm having three workshops over the 2 days. One for kids, which is between, not really so much kids, but pre-teenagers starting from 10 years old and up. There's a workshop that will be telling you a lot about science, the power of science, the role and function of a sign, and then to actually paint a sign for yourself on spot. And then we'll be having a next workshop for adults, and a special one for creatives and artists like myself. People who want to know more about sign painting itself. They might be graphic designers or any kind of visual artist or any creative at all. So this will be an excellent opportunity to come and see the process of making a sign and understand more about a sign, so that if you should ever have to do a sign, you would understand, you'll be doing it from a more informed perspective.
So Bruce, that sign behind you, like that PSA ground sign with all the numbers and the letters, you did that freehand, or you have to use a stencil to get the B and the S looking the way it's looking there right now?
Well, this particular sign is a print of an original, right? This was for my first exhibition in 2021. Well, when I'm doing the actual signs, the original, no stencils are used. I've been doing this so long repetitively that I've gained a very keen sense of judgment of space. So that when I'm painting the letters, I mean, on closer scrutiny, the letters that the two S in brass won't be exactly the same, right? But it will look basically the same. And this is just me using my sense of judgment to have the size and the flow of each letter, kind of like, so each R will be the same in the same way in the next R and so forth.
And besides the judgment with the letters, you have also understood the science of colors and the colors that pop and attract and grab people's attention. You see the reds, the yellows, the greens. It's been proven, marketing people go do studies on these things, and major companies, they're very intentional with the colors they use to advertise.
Very much so.
And you learn this all on your own. You basically figure out this on your own.
Well, yes, I figured it out eventually, but I've been working with instinct for almost half the time I've been doing this. And it's only in later on, when there was the advent of things like the internet, I would be able to do a little research and then realize that what I was doing instinctively for all these years, I was on the correct road. And colors do have an important role, and I don't use them by guess anymore. Colors have a way of creating excitement or any kind of joy, or the opposite. So that when I'm doing signs for like food, you can't just use any color any favorite color for things like food, to advertise food. If you notice, like the big food giants, they use mostly reds and yellows, and this is a specific reason. This yellow stimulates appetite, and red also do the same thing. So I am very intentional with the colors I use. I'm also intentional with the weight of the letters. If you notice, in this same sign here, Brass Fest is the biggest and the loudest, because letters have a way of letters have tones and volume and characteristics and everything.
Well, Bruce,
so I have to use them accordingly.
Bruce, we run out of time, but I want to thank you so much and congratulate you on this exhibition. It's happening at the Big Black, the Big Black Box. All the information is on screen, the numbers to call. To continue the great work, Bruce, and you are a real icon.
Thank you.
Full respect.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes, my brother. All the best.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick pause and come back with a breaking story, a breaking development out of the United Kingdom. Oh, no break. So we'll go to that immediately. I've just received from Amisha and Nikisha, and it's actually on our CNC3 news page, and I'll read. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced Monday that he will resign, forced out by his own party after missteps and mistakes soured voters' goodwill for a prime minister who won a landslide election victory 2 years ago on a promise of steady leadership and economic growth. So again, he was forced out. He will resign, being forced out by his own party after missteps and mistakes soured voters and their goodwill for a prime minister who won a landslide victory. So Starmer is no more. He resigns as UK Prime Minister. Someone by the name of Burnham bids to succeed him. That development and more you will get during the course of the day. Have a fantastic Monday. All the best, TNT, and God spare. I'll be back for more tomorrow.